Okay, I will let everybody else join into the class very gently. So just an important note to discuss is that when we discuss something into our practice around the awareness and mindfulness, yes, knowing the right thing and having a positive thought is greater for the practice. But you also have to understand when you're reading a book and when you're having a discussion with a friend and make that conversation goes onto your way in a positive level or working out the negativity is okay. But really what we need to work it out. So today's class is about forgiveness in a deeper level now, to understand forgiveness and to work it out so that every word that we say about a person or say to ourselves is actually a command to the mind and the body. So when we command the mind and the body in a certain way, whether it's negative or whether it's forceful, it actually starts storing those energies inside the body. And with time, constantly, whether we run into a friend that who will keep us in that same loop, so that we connect to those, whether out of fear, whether out of our own ego, that stored energy keep on building. Now, whether if it is a cancer that has returned or a tumor that has returned, it's not against you. It's just how the energy works. Energy feeds by a certain emotion and it's built up into a form, and then it's also want to be released. So for some of the people, the release come as going through a chemotherapy or going through a recovery, or it might be totally a loss of someone you really love. And even in a loss, you get preoccupied by the whole going to the funeral, what's to wear, what to do. And then there will be a time after, I can say this to you because I had a heart surgery, a massive heart surgery. But the surgery time was not as healing as 1 year after. I was alone and I had felt the heart attack back again, the whole procedure. But that time I had the awareness and the practice that this body is allowing the stored energy to release because it cannot anymore hold it. So that's where the real practice came on, that I could allow myself to sit with it rather than running or calling an ambulance or panicking into a fear, that I gently work it out through that time. I think Constantina has said she just got the sound. Yeah, she got the sound. You got the sound now? Okay, great. So this is very important to come into the forgiveness. There is so much of realization that we need to work on. And practice is very important because practice itself is giving that space for you to sit with it, where you have to feel with it, where you have to mingle with it, you have to merge into it, and that's what we call embodiment. So today I'm going to work it out a few different things for you guys, how just we can allow ourselves to be in the practice, embody the practice, whether it's a daily ritual that you're doing as a dinacharya, whether how do you wake up, what is the first thing that comes into your mind, how do you brush the teeth, how do you clean the tongue, how do you have some warm water. And so that routine can help you very gently because you're in the routine, you're feeling the routine rather than you're reading something about it. So let us begin the practice by very gently allowing yourself to find a comfortable position where you can gently be, very gently that you can be. So take a posture that you can sit gently. Take a posture that allows you to very gently allow the breath to move in. Now, in the yoga practice, we would love to witness the breath, or we like to do the ujjayi pranayama. We very gently allow the breath to come into the space of the diaphragm and loosening up, and very gently releasing that tension of our identity we are holding. Because if someone has said something, you might react onto it, so you are restricted yourself. And this is a time by breathing, you're allowing that space to be occupied by something of a great nature to come in and move out. And you're holding the space for the practice. So let's see how you hold the space for the practice. Whether there is an elongation of the spine, so not necessarily you have to do postures, but if you can listen and allow the body to very gently open from where the place you are at, that would be great. So now, if you guys are all settling into the practice, I will move the camera towards Darren so that you can very gently observe the posture if you need to observe it. But take your own way of doing things. It's more of allowing the mind and the body to see the surface of yourself. But what we are trying to get the alignment of merging within that space that you are so observing of your habitual patterns. So now very gently roll the shoulders back, take a deep breath in and breathe out and letting go. And releasing the body of that any judgment, any force, any identity that has taken the shape of the ego. Now, not necessarily ego is a bad thing. Ego is the way we work with the world. It's like when you have a vehicle, you identify yourself with the vehicle for that purpose. But this is a time that you're going to take a break from that space also. Now take a deep breath in and shrug the shoulders up and very gently tilt the head back and massage the back of the skull. Very gently open and close the mouth wider to release any tension that you have built up on the jaw, the tension of whether you didn't open up your throat chakra, or whether you have tension with communicating with people, or you might feel that you're right and the rest is wrong, but I don't want to talk about it. So as I say, every feeling, every thought and emotion is a command to the body, and it restricts the body. So find ways to release that space and bringing that space into a flow. So very gently, we will move the camera towards Darren. Now take a deep breath in and very gently stretch your arms onto the side and clench and unclench, and to feel the release of those tips, the fingers, the knuckles, and very gently see where is the restriction in the body, where is the flow in the body, where is the restriction in the mind, where is the flow in the mind, and very gently bringing this mind and body through the bridge of the breath into that space of flowing. Now take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the crown, and very gently interlace in the fingers and palms, facing very gently up, shoulders relaxed and chest open, and very gently tuck the tailbone under and gently allow that arms to move behind the ears, and very gently breathing in to stretch those elbows a little bit more, palms facing up, and very gently breathe out and twist the spine very gently towards the left. Stomach pulls in very gently, allowing that space of the spine, space of the body to come into a gentle realization that you have twist, and you can feel that space on a head level, in a body level, and very gently breathing in and very gently bringing back into the center, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Shoulders relax. Very gently releasing the tension of the guilt, the hurt, the sadness, and where you're creating this hiding behind that story. And very gently twisting the spine on out breath to the right side. Very gently opening up into that feeling so that you can release that stagnation of sadness, hurt. And very gently allow the experience to be there without further judging it, without further analyzing it. And very gently back to the center, shoulders relax and just open. Now take a deep breath in, breathe out into a seated cat. Very gently allow that feeling, whether it's small or back, pulling the belly slightly in and elongating each and every vertebra. And very gently release that vertebra from hiding behind the story. Breathing in very gently, shoulders roll back, opening up into a gentle cat. And releasing that into a cow, into that, releasing that space from that blame, the guilt, want to be perfect, because these things are remaining in the mind and the body. And sometimes we get driven by it, but we cannot driven by it for long. Whenever there's blame and guilt, breathe out very gently now, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock, not lock as lock, but holding the energy of those chakra, Muladhara chakra, Anahata chakra, Visuddhi chakra. Breathing in very gently, tongue roll up onto the upper palate and allow the energy to accompany into that space of liberation, into the space of the third eye. Very gently breathe out into a gentle cat. Now very gently, energetically releasing the tension of the blame, releasing the tension of the guilt, being perfect. And if there are any subtle energies comes up as emotions, let them arise. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate energy, gaze onto the Chitakasha, the pituitary and the pineal energy. Now in this time, it's greater to bring that energy into the space of forgiveness, because it's very important. The timing is moving forward, and it is important that you have come into this space in these times. A neutral spine. Now very gently allow the body to relax. Stretch the neck to the right. A very genuine feeling of sincerity into the practice, that you're open to this space, back to the center, on to the other side. Opening up that very gentle space so that you're giving that intention even to release that armor that you're overprotecting your story, or protecting your being right, being correct. Back to the center. Now very gently, shoulders relax and chest open. Now very gently bring the knees and the ankles into the space of the Sukhasana, so they are not crossing, but your bum is very gently settling into that space. So very gently take a deep breath in and walk those palms into the front and drop those elbows onto the floor very gently to see where is that uncomfort today in a deepest level. Because to heal the body, you have to allow the body. And that allovingness is the forgiveness. Forgiveness is very important, because without forgiveness, we are just taking something to hurt us furthermore. And the struggle is only going to get much more heavier for yourself. Especially with yourself and with others. Now, very gently, palms facing up, and very gently allow the body to feel this space of openness. And in this level of realization, you're coming into the understanding that I know in many ways, or without me really not experiencing, that I have hurt others, I have hurt myself, and it might be totally out of your own knowledge, or it can be out of totally ignorance, or out of pain, or out of fear, out of anger. So whatever has caused you the suffering, just come into that space. It can be just the way you react to things. Now, allow your body to really feel this. Now, very gently take a deep breath in and very gently come back. Come back into the space of not the surface level of you, not the body level of you, not the mind level of you, because a technique is important, but beyond the technique, you have to see. So let any unfinished business arise from your heart, and very gently release in that space of the heart without restricting. And allow it to really navigate you to that space of feeling your own sorrow, feeling your own remorse. And most of the time, we have to say sorry to ourselves, because we are holding this poison and asking someone else to die or someone else to change. But two wrongs doesn't make it a right. So whatever is appropriate to the practice, now very gently place your palms together in front of your chest into a prayer position. And first come into that realization, I am carrying this weight, and this is the time for me. And maybe this week. And very gently take a deep breath and chanting that mantra Om, just to activate the energy of the sound into the space of the realization. So take a deep breath in. Very gently, without vocabulary, without meaning, just a place of surrender. Now very gently take a deep breath in and rest those palms onto the knees and breathe consciously. Allow the heat of the palm, the vibration to be there as a tool for you to soften the space of whatever you're working on. Now take a deep breath in and very gently bring that left leg into the back. Shoulders relaxed. So if you're in the back of the mat, then this is more like a preparation for a pigeon pose. So when we bring that left foot into the back, our right hip, right groin, right thigh, right foot, all these are opening, shoulders rolled back, opening from that stagnation, the mechanism that you constantly caging yourself into, thinking that it is the protection. Shoulders roll back, opening up that chest. And very gently drop the elbows. Walk those palms into the front, very gently releasing the tension. Head down, neck down, and very gently, when the time permits, you drop the elbows. When the time permits, you extend that spine. When the time permits, let yourself be in that space. Now, this is a very good time. Let yourself remember ways you have, by verbally or ignoring, if something comes up to you, whether you have hurt others. In your mind, where the memory is, if there is anyone, or you feel that it was hurt, or there is an incident to see yourself, this is a good time. Let the practice to take place, that this, not as a separation as the other person, but the hurt has there. So this is a good time, even with the out breath, just using the word like, I'm sorry for any hurt I have caused. And with that in breath, you just ask that space to forgive. Out breath, I'm sorry. So breathe consciously and direct the breath into your heart. And this can be any situation. This doesn't have to be so many people, whether it's 1 or 1,000. That's realization, and doing this practice release thousands and thousands. Maybe you're releasing something from your grandparents that you're carrying, maybe parents. So this is a time, very gently. So don't force the practice just by forcing the pose. So, and the practice itself that you're saying to yourself, I know that in many ways, without my knowing, I have hurt others. I would have hurt by, I want to achieve something and educate people. It can be out of totally knowledge. It can be out of ignorance. It can be out of my own pain, my own fear, or collective pain, collective fear. And these times these are happening. But somehow this space have caused suffering to someone. Now, if you see that compassionately the other, and you don't want to hurt that other, even by a thought and even by your emotion, even by a command, how you talk about other people to your friends and stuff like that. And when you release into that space, it's easy to do it for yourself. Now take a deep breath, very gently walk those palms very gently back towards you. But your body has a different energy, it has a different openness, it has a different flow. The breath is not forced, so the Ujjayana Pranayama very gently happening. Shoulders relaxing, chest open. Lift up the space of the heart, lift up the space of the back. Now very gently we can move into a plank, stronger on the pelvic floor. Very gently below, bringing the bum below the shoulder level. So not so much slouching. And now very gently moving into a gentle down face, not a forced down face, because we are not doing the down face. We are just trying to bring the left foot back into the pigeon pose. Shoulders relaxed when you're ready. Opening up, bending one knee at a time to release the tension. When you're ready, very gently placing that left foot which was in the back, and allow that left toes to be open, foot to be open, the bridge of the foot to be open. Take a deep breath in to allow the shoulders to roll back, allow the breath to come and go, and time to time witnessing, not so much of doing. And very gently when you're ready, Open up that space of the throat, back of the neck. Take a deep breath in and allow that breath to move out. And very gently walk those palms when you're ready. To drop those elbows. Surrender into the space of like gravity. Now, this is a very good time. Very gently open up that stiffness of the fingers, palms facing up, shoulder blades are relaxed, shoulders are totally dropped, chest is open, and using this psychosomatic practice. And this is a good time to know that in many ways that we have been hurt by others. Sometimes it can be the same thing that I did it to someone without even me knowing, without out of my own fear, without my own ignorance. So that person also now can do the same thing without their knowing, out of their own space of that ignorance, out of their own space of the pain, out of their own anger, out of their own fear, and you would have taken it as abuse, betrayal, all that. If someone is really close to you, you can say that you have abandoned me or abandoned us. So whatever the body is holding, take that deep breath in and release that command to let yourself very gently releasing that betrayal and abandon and the abuse and even in any unfinished whatever coming up. But I would like you to very gently associate with the space of the heart and feel any hurt or fear or anger that you have been carrying. But keep that body very gently relaxing and very gently coming into that space. Whatever is blocked, whatever is unenthusiastic because of this, because you're stopping your own creativity. Whatever the body that is not mind, that not uninspired, whatever the depression that you're having, whatever the flatness that you're having, whatever the boredom that you're having. So just observe and breathing into that space. Or it might be totally opposite for you. Life is hard because of this, and you can't be bothered with dealing with it. Or you are overprotecting the heart and you're wounded and you're rejected and you're hardened and you're cold. And because of this reason that maybe somewhere that love is not happening, because you believe that you are undeserving because of this. This happens when my long-term first relationship left. I felt frequently that I'm in the space of self-criticism and putting down, which makes me feel worthless and made me feel even bitter, anger. So very gently, this is a good time. Shoulders relax, just open and walk those palms back to you. But there is a different level of that you're not stressing the body by command. You're not stressing the words by that anxiety. You're not pushing yourself further anymore, because opposite of this is actually you push too hard yourself, not listening to your heart. And I can say that from a space of injury, disappointment. So this is the time, if you are having that deep-seated fear of being something is returning back, just to take a moment. So you are meant to not to find the logic of this, but to find the space to not damage it furthermore, that it is already tarnishing. It is already rusting. Now, take that deep breath in and shoulders relax and chest open very gently, coming into a plank. strong on the pelvic floor. Now I would like you to drop the knees and very gently push the hips forward and backwards and give a good rotation to the hips, because sometimes we are releasing certain things from the heart or certain part of an organ. It can go and still lock into the hips. So give a good rotation to the other side and very gently take a deep breath in into the front and push the hips, and deep breath out, palms facing up, and push the bums to settle down into the heels. Now, this is very good that if any unfinished business arising from your heart and it getting stored in something, whether it's a hurt, whether it's a fear coming back for you, or frustration, also can be anger, because most of you have habitual not screaming out loud as angry, but that frustration is also anger that people carry, and they react to everything when things are a little bit harder. So if it feels appropriate, very gently waking up the spine, and let your hands place the back of your hands on your thighs, and very gently bring the knees together. And this is the time that very gently, slowly allow yourself to now the fist to be open in a gesture of letting go, letting be, if it is too hard for you to. And you can very gently, with that in breath, you can forgive you for the hurt you have caused me. So that you can say, I forgive you for the hurt you have caused me. Even we think about another person, it's actually you have caused yourself in the situation with the other person, but it is too much to understand. It's okay that you can say, I release you and set you free. And I set myself free. So if this time feels correct for you through this practice of sacredness, practice of the divinity, if the time feels correct for you, you can also say to the person that left you and allow you to understand and realize more compassion, more love to yourself. You can say, I wish you well, because you do wish that space well, so it's easy for to release. So now breathe consciously, direct the breath into your heart as you breathe out, and let your heart soften as you let go of any blame and resentment or bitterness that can turn into material and can form tumors. And also some of you might be just want to forget the event. Now, I'm not a huge fan of forgetting things because if you give the body too much to forget, and the mind, it can be erasing not only that memory, it can erase most part of the memory, like Alzheimer's. I mean, there is a good part of it when you don't know the history and the past of your mind and the body will be in a better place, but then also you will not remember the loved ones. Also, this can happen. I'm not a scientific guy. I just know things out of the practice. So it's up to you very gently to take not the logic part of the practice, but the practical part of the feeling. Now very gently take a deep breath in and very gently lift up onto the knees, shoulders roll back. Now give that shoulders roll back, and very gently right arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling, into the right hip. Left arm reaching up, elongate. Keep those kidneys more buoyant and reaching onto the hips. And this is a great way to practice the Uttarasana, the camel pose, But if the camel pose is too hard, just gentle opening of the heart, elevating the heart. But otherwise, you can very gently push the toes down and lift up the heels and reach onto the heels or to a bolster, whatever is you're working on. So this is a great time to coming into that space so that your shoulders relax and your heart is elevating. If you're experiencing any level of tightness, please come out of the posture and close your eyes, move into a child pose and tune into your space of the heart and visualize your heart in your space of the practice. How does it looks like as it has released, has it expanded? Has it come into a place of receiving and giving, not just receiving or not just giving, or it is a space of a neutrality, and it's a space of fully to be joy, fully to accept. And from this moment, you can see the constrictions, stress, and the tiredness or limitedness where you have stored that in the body. So if you want to do a visualization, it is good for you to in breath as a healing liquid, washing away all that grayness, the density, and the stress from the space of the heart of an organ. If you're especially working on a place of an organ, and this practice allow it to very gently release that tension of heaviness, depression, victimhood, anger, hurt, anything that has come to you before the practice, the rejection, the stagnation, as also the point with positives. If you're totally things say that you're opinionated correct, it also can have a charge, and it can also contribute to these conditions of your holding. So out breath is more like a shift occurs and a release occurs. Now very gently take that deep breath in, very gently coming into the crown of the head and lift up the buttocks and very gently activating the pituitary and the pineal gland. Also elongate the space of the neck so that the energy can really move in and energy can open so that it can pour into the space of the heart. Now very gently roll back into the buttocks and the fist is on the third eye, and allow to begin melting away that hardness or protection, and allow that breath to bring the softness, allow this clasp to bring that softness, and allow your heart to feel that unconditional love as more like a space of aura, space of understanding. And that is the protection. You don't need to protect yourself from the other. Even you have experienced hurt, trust that it has developed into a place of wisdom, has now leading you into release those things and come into a better version of yourself. And you're allowing first time in life to experience that place of love. And very gently, meditatively, this is also an important place that you want to have gratitudes to an organ that endlessly keep you alive. And also this is a great time to have that this opportunity that you're feeling deeply for the first time to experience really the practice. So this is a great time to appreciate this very moment of your life. And I would use this moment to also say, thank you for coming into the practice and the wonderful work that you are doing for yourself. We are in an amazing world. Now, very gently waking up the spine one vertebra at a time. Very gently relax your hand and heat up the hands by rubbing them, and begin to feel any tingling and sensation between these fingers, and place them on your heart and allow that warm and that beautiful magenta light to develop in your heart. The imagination of a color is just to represent the well-being of that heart. And just by coming into that space of intelligence, it will install the ability to listen to your heart more, maybe the compassionate wisdom that your heart is constantly guiding you. And also this is a time that it's allowing you to open your heart to kindness, maybe affection, even from yourself, the passion, the fun, the deep joy, and the gratitude that you're having in this very moment. So you're regenerating that heart by very gently breathing with those palms and very gently almost feeling that you're having the heart on your hands and any related organs to bring in that vitality back, the well-being. And this is a good time to release that stuckness, the judgment, the jealousy, the hatred, the fear that out of that you would have hurt someone. So whatever the color that you're resonating is a great color, whether it's magenta, whether it's pink, whether it's the emerald color. Now take a deep breath in and breath out and very gently releasing the tension. Now when you're ready, palms into the front, legs coming into a very gentle down face. Today's practice is just gentle, breathing consciously, directing your breath into the intention of the practice. Now very gently drop the knees, very gently stretch the spine, very gently crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Now open the throat and stay there without dropping the hips, just to get the extension of the throat. Normally when the heart chakra is open, it lifts up into the space of the throat, and if you open up the throat a little bit more, it will bring the hormonal balance of it, and very gently dropping the hips onto the floor, soften the hips, elbows onto the floor, and very gently come into a very gentle Bhujangasana. Very gentle, because we are working here with abuse, we are working here with betrayal, we are working with this abandoned part. So very gently keeping that heart floating in that space. And this is a very good time to forgive yourself. Very gently allow the practice to be that we know that in many ways, without even knowing, without even the busyness of the life, I have hurt myself out of my own ignorance, out of my own fear, pain, out of my own anger. I have caused suffering to myself. I have been abusing myself. I have been betraying myself. I have abandoned myself. Now, even you're not coming into a practice, it also can be abandoning yourself. So bring the real tools into the practice and let yourself to feel that in ways, not overhurting yourself again, but in your mind, you can see the times you have abused, betrayed yourself and abandoned yourself, because even not having the right level of consciousness is abandoning, betraying. So see these times that you unconsciously come into and have been hard on yourself, want to be too much critical of yourself. Let any unfinished things that arise from your heart will now work, not two words. Feel any sorrow and compassion. Now very gently soften the forehead onto the floor. Soften the forehead onto the floor. Very gently, your forehead landing on top of your hands, elbows pointing out, your armpits are open, your hips can relax a little bit more gently. And this is a good moment. If a memory return in the body, if the incident returns in the body, it's open up a space so that you're sorry for any hurt, or you can say, I'm sorry for any hurt I have caused myself. I forgive myself. I am really sorry. I'm sorry. I forgive myself. And let the practice bring that gentle kindness and the compassion that you see yourself as you see clearly the other. Breathe consciously, direct the breath into your heart, and very gently, the gravity and the flow, the touch of the earth energy over your heart. As you breathe out, let your heart soften. Let it take time, each out breath, to release that guilt. Most of all, that self-criticism that you're so judgmental about yourself. So this is the moment you're allowing the heart to be open, regenerate. Because the heart can cure a lot of spaces of the body. So now very gently take a deep breath in and very gently bring your left leg up high as possible. And very gently bring the left knee onto the side of the left chest. And very gently rolling onto the other side, opening up into that space, and very gently coming into that space of you're loving this body as it is. Not that if it lose some weight, not that it has changed the color of it, not that if it looks younger. These are all these trauma that we habitually come into. So accepting this moment as it is, opening up this space for the practice very gently, very gently. Wherever you want to place the left hand, whether it's the buttocks, whether it's the hip, it's up to you. I would normally roll the shoulder back on the left side a little bit more towards the back and keep that elevation of the heart to lift up a little bit on the left side. And very gently, in essence, you're whole and you're pure. In the essence, you're whole and pure. And allow the practice to recognize it. Allow the practice to come into the experience of it, not just coming into that sense of reading and reinforcing. Now take a deep breath when you're ready, very gently changing the side, but before changing the side, coming into a neutral position, and then right leg lift up into the back. So the hip is still on the floor. extension, and the right knee onto the right chest. And very gently coming into that pure and coming into that space that if you are not observing the true worth of the moment will possess you with its thought and with its fear and emotion. So very gently understanding this connectedness, but also the depth of the practice, and very gently coming into that space and coming into that understanding that goodness in every moment, if it is realized. But if it is not realized, it's the thought that governs the body. Mind is great, the body is great, but it's just a vehicle, it's just a suit. It's protect you from the environment, it dressed you up. But that's not you, you're dressing it. So this is a very good moment to come into that innate goodness beyond the mind and the body, and your interconnectedness and your respect to that space. When you come into that space of your soul, there is no separation from the other. And this practice will give you the capacity to recognize the sacredness in all things. We might be thinking sometimes that we are separate. It's like in the ocean, all these countries are there, and we are fighting to keep the separation of the country, but we are connected through this whole world, whole galaxy. Now, all I want you to come out of that separation into the interconnectedness, connectedness. Even the person that you're fighting is no different from you. So now you can very gently have a choice to suffer or you have a natural urge to forgive yourself and others. Now, in this very moment, the breath comes as a base of compassion and kindness. Now, very gently back to the center, shoulders relax and chest open, arms stretch into the front, interlace in the fingers, palms facing into the front, very gently lifting up of the arms and extension, no bending elbows, extension into the legs, stretching the legs up, and very gently breathe out, holding onto the ankles into the back and coming into the Dhanurasana. Now, if your lower back is too much having tension and you have numbness and tingle on one side of the legs, it is extending the back is important rather than tightening it. Now take a deep breath in, relax, and allow the head to turn onto a side that is wishes to. Shoulders relax and chest open. Now what has happened is you have increased the capacity and the skill to be with that, manage the mind and this body. Now that realization is healing. Whether it's an illness, now the greatest gift of the practice is offers you this direct experience of who you really are and your own true nature, and you're not separated from the space of the joy of the divinity. Very gently changing the head onto the other side. So it's good to have a a practice of yin in these times when you're working on these, and we are letting go of all your business, all you're doing. Back to the center. Palms onto the chest level and breathing in into up face. Breathe out onto the down face. Now very gently bending one knee at a time and very gently allow that space of the practice, space of the forgiveness to reveal. So you experience this essence directly. Now take a deep breath in and very gently lifting up onto the toes. Bend both knees and bring the lower ribs closer to the knees. Push the bum up, up, up. Now drop the knees and stretch the spine. Palms facing up very gently. Shoulders relax. There's a physical calmness. There's a physical and mental calmness. And there is a space that you can allow things to pass, not running behind the things of a thought, the repetition. Now, if you come into this practice regularly, then you're spending some time each day of letting go things that no longer serving you. And you're coming into a space of being still. And you're coming into more of the practice rather than reading it or getting some hearing, but being in that space. Now very gently, shoulders relax, chest open. Very gently coming into a cat. Shoulders relax. And allow the spine to come into that space of response on the out breath. And you're now very gently dropping the belly and begin to come into a space of the calm. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Very gently out breath and very gently holding the bandhas. There is no need to breathe in unless it's for you, it felt deeply. Now, very gently breathing in, drop the belly, tongue roll up onto the soft part of the upper palate. Energy gaze onto the third eye, clearly as you can. Allow the energy to rise within your heart, returning into that space of that radiating. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat. Now take a deep breath in and coming into a space of a neutral spine, a neutral space. Now very gently take a deep breath in and left arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench, give a good rotation. Left arm reaching under the armpit. Bring that shoulder down as possible, very gently. Now, right arm can stretch into the front of the room, or right arm can reach up to the ceiling, and palm can hold on to the sacrum. So elbow and the shoulder opening more. Whatever it is easy for you, whatever is enough to you, very gently allow the breath to bring that clarity between the mind and the body without the separation. Allow to radiate those feelings of energy. You're simply in a feeling of radiating the feeling of feeling, wrapping around this feeling. Each and every cell is vibrating in that space of healing. Take a deep breath in, relax the buttocks, relax the buttocks. There's no tension in the body. Very gently coming back, breathe out to the space of the cat. Breathing into a space of the cow. Not so much doing, but just experience the clarity and the sense of the posture that itself is energetically wrapping around through this feeling, with this kindness, with this relaxing. Now very gently, when you're ready, change the sides, and right arm reaching up to the ceiling, clench and unclench. Even those knuckles can be still holding. Let your practice be like a light of beam of light that travels through each and every part of the body into the cells, to create those brain waves radiating a feeling out of your whole body from that space of the heart. Imagine that heart that you worked on. Now spread that heart into each and every cell of the body, wrapping each and every cell of the body like a cloak, like a blanket, like a color, like a lighthouse. Allow your practice to rekindle, rebuild that energy. If you're recovering from a particular organ or particular place, bring that energy into that space and project that feeling. Keep doing this. Allow the breath to move in and move out, filling that space, whether it's a person, whether it's a thing that you need to work with. It can be a difficulty in your life. Breathing in very gently, coming back, shoulders relaxed, gently breathing out, reestablish into the space of that cat. And to that cow. And allow the body to absorb more of these feelings. Now rotate the hips widely and work on the digestion. Very gently releasing the tension from the spleen, the pancreas, the bile duct, the liver, the kidneys, the ovaries. Onto the other side, the lungs these times. So you can see the practice is not about fear. I'm not telling you come to practice out of this fear, come to practice out of that fear. No. Because your true life is to be content, wellness. So use the practice as contemplation to open your space of that heart and come into the insight that you already have it in there. Now onto the other side, push the hips into the front, into the back. Now very gently stretch the spine into the back, palms facing up, releasing that tension and allowing the body to feel that space of openness. And this is very gently allowing you to release those subtle things that you're still holding. Practice is almost like a gratitude for all the blessings that in this very moment, whether they are large or small, or in your appreciation, that allow you to carry through this moment, to become an hour, to become a day. Because otherwise the resentment can blind you. Or the greed can blind us from all these gifts and blessings at this very moment entering into your life. Yes, now you can manifest things because you know the practice, but manifestation doesn't work if you don't have a practice and a realization. Now very gently wake up the spine one vertebra at a time, shoulders relaxed and your chest open. Lift up the space of the vulnerability after releasing the armor, and allow the breath to bring that compassion to yourself that you brought to the others. Allow the nectar of the practice, the seed of gratitude is now safe because it has the correct things to grow. So now you have stopped struggling with yourself and the others. Now you have given more space for yourself. Now you have given more space to letting go of expectations and judgment. Now you have given more space. Now out of that great amount of that great spaciousness, the gifts can begin to emerge. Gratitude can emerge. Health can emerge. Relationship can enhance. As I say, forgiveness is just verbal unless you know the practice deeply. Gratitude is just verbal and forced. But you are now cultivating by coming into the practice. Now very gently stretch your legs into the front, release the tension and the shackles of those legs that judgment had hold you, grief has hold you, that you're not walking the purpose of your life anymore because you try to match someone else's shoe. Very gently bring this intention that you're free to walk your path without being fear of anything. Now very gently sole of the feet to get the knees wide apart. Very gently allow your thighs to drop, knees to drop, hip to be very gently open, shoulders roll back, so you either can butterfly into the space of the posture so that you can release the tension that you're holding. Now under the ankles, very gently, you're locking onto the toes. But to make this posture easy, you may have to walk the bum back and you're keeping the spine very gently straight, shoulders roll back, And then try to elongate that space of the torso so the gravity will put the head down. So even you feel like you're curving the spine, try to roll from the hips and try not to curve the spine forcefully or unconsciously. So there is a different gravitation that coming into the space of the practice. Shoulders relax. And if you feel like you're overly rolling the shoulders into the front, it's best to keep a block or a bolster and coming into that space that very gently you're opening up that space, opening up that gift, opening up that blessing, opening up that space of you deserve it. First, your manifestation, you have to feel in the body is ready to take. It's not just by using your manifestation on the mind. You guys are asking about this a lot. I understand it's the trend on YouTube and all those things. But your heart and your whole body has to be filled with such a deep sense of gratitude. So it's naturally create that space of, I'm so happy, it brings me tears and joys into my eyes. And in that space, your manifestation has come in the space of humbleness. It's coming into the space of it's leading your heart into joy, not overwhelming it. Now you don't have to fight for it. Everything in life is there to support. If something has challenged you, it has only challenged you to inspire you. Have you ever thought about what you really need to earn that might come freely given by life? It behoves you to be in that space of gratitude. Now very gently take a deep breath in and coming back, shoulders relax and just open. If your spine has curved too much, keep that openness in the body. You cannot overprotect your body. You just have to find the openness of this pose. You have to find even the posture, alignment. Alignment is openness of the posture, not tightening it into a force, because that's when the mind does the posture. Now very gently stretch the legs into the front, shoulders relax and just open. Now bend the knees slightly. I'm going to do a Paschimottanasana, moving forward. So pull out the buttocks and bring the knees a little bit higher and very gently arms raise onto the crown, interlacing the fingers and rolling forward. Now, as soon as you start hunching, stop the posture, shoulders roll back, drop the elbows onto the floor and hold and roll from there. Roll from there, whether you want to do the full Paschimottanasana, Purna, or you're going to do a Madhyama, a medium one. But just keep the energy flow. It's not a destination of a posture and an alignment. Now again, a bolster might be needed for you if your trunk is too high and you want to drop the trunk into the bolster. So your flow is the bolster. Some of you might be thinking, I might get my head down to the floor and I'm going to force myself. Now that's where the mind is doing the practice. And if that is what's happening to you, then take a break and slow down. But if you're bored and lethargic, then very gently use the technique of the mind to very gently be into the practice. So try to identify how you work. If you want to stretch the legs totally into forward. If you want to bring the knees down and do a full-on posture, please do so. Or if you want to stretch the feet mat width apart and then allow the hands to drop onto the toes and shoulders roll back and stop that head and neck hanging too much. So just elongate the spine in the angle of that alignment. When you're ready, take a deep breath in and coming back. Shoulders relax. Now stretch the legs, feet together. Stretch the legs into the front. Shoulders relax, keep the spine straight. Now very gently bring the left knee onto the chest. Now very gently give a good rotation to the left foot. Now very gently left foot onto the right side over the right leg. Take a deep breath in. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back, opening up. Left arm reaching and the left elbow going past. Now this is a good one to use the left hand to roll the right shoulder back and creating the space of the spine and the chest open, and even overlooking onto the right side. And maybe right foot is flexing, taking that deep breath and very gently coming into that space of openness. Very gently coming into that space of openness. Breathe, shoulders relaxed, just open. Now find the comfort in this posture. It might be not the alignment and its force, but some of you might just want to bring the right foot under the left buttock and ground the posture a little bit more by leaning towards the right side. And some of you might be not twisting, just wanted to hold the knees and be there uncomfortably and elevating the space of the heart. So what is the practice has taught you today is to come into the heart of the, if there is a problem, come into the heart of that space. Most of the time we come to the mind of the difficulty. But have you ever tried to come into the heart of the difficulty? Have you ever tried to come into the heart of the emotion? Have you ever tried to come into the heart of the sickness? Rather than why it's happening to me, what is the great blessing that it has brought to me? Now, when the time is permit, very gently coming back into the center, shoulders relax, hold on to the knee, just lift up. Now, very gently, let's take your time and do the other side. So very gently, right leg stretch, left foot come back into the center. Preparation of refreshing the body with the breath, refreshing the body by not forcing it into any movement. And when the time permits, let the breath and movement work from moment to moment. So it's not about forcing the posture into a direction, but that's the map. Then taking every moment as it comes, preparing the body, observing the breath, observing the thought and the intention into the posture. Shoulders relax, elevate the space of the heart. The journey has to not to only go through the mind. Journey also has all other organs and its permission. When you're ready, whether it permits to turn or gravitate towards the left and bring that foot underneath, it's up to you. Take that deep breath in and find the heart of the practice and very gently coming into that space of what have we worked with. Whether it's a forgiveness for ourselves today, whether we have hurt or harmed anyone through the thoughts or deed. Doesn't matter if it is anything that knowingly you have not done, maybe unknowingly. Maybe times that we have acted unskillfully out of our own fear of pain. Or it might be the way you have hurt or harmed yourself out of neglect, out of dishonesty, when the body and the heart was trying to tell you. Or it can be we have suffered at the hands of others. It's coming into your awareness. Very gently coming into the space, holding onto the knee, shoulders relax. Maybe we suffer from our own confusion. So today's practice is about where we hold our resentment. And we have used the practice to gently touch them, gently. How do we have approached this practice today is with kindness and forgiveness. And we are seeing whether it's time for us to let go. Is it time for us to let it be? Now very gently coming into a seated posture, shoulders relaxed and chest open. Very gently twisting the spine to the right, stomach pulled in. Very gently give that internal organs a gentle space of a massage. Liver, kidney on the right, shoulder blade, lungs and the heart. Back to the center, shoulders relax and chest open. Twisting the spine to the other side. Now you can change the leg formation, or it's totally up to you. It is in the space of your own comfort. Shoulders relax and just back to the center. Stretch the neck to the right. Keep that left shoulder blade open. Back to the center. Onto the other side. Back to the center. Shoulders relax. Lift up the space of the heart. Palms onto the Namaskar position. Take a couple of deep breaths. Shoulders relax and just open. Your greatest gratitude comes from the space of silence, place of observation. Now allowing a single Om to chant to resonate through the whole vibration, not as a separation of this body and your identity, but to resonate the vibration of each and every cell of the body, each and every cell of the manifestation of the whole, each and every cell of the manifestation that you want to have in life. So treat it as a living thing, not just as a material. Because the material comes into the manifestation by each and every atom is charged by energy. Whatever you're looking for, let all those cells vibrate and connect alignment with you. Breathing in, a single O. Gently raising the vibration of those healing hands through the space of your practice, sacredness of your kingdom, your home, your ecology, your community, your world, your galaxy. Imagine yourself vibrating through this light as a cell. Once you come into this vibration, everything vibrates through your intention. Touch the earth, respect for the Mother Earth and its biological form. Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, earth particles, air particles, heat particles, water particles, everything in harmony of creation, preservation, and destruction of letting go. That things no longer serve. Gently coming out of the practice. Palms onto the namaskar. Please. Namaste.